started with Coach O. Coach, if you can start with that opening statement.
All right, guys, very disappointing. Give credit to Auburn. They came ready to play. The turnovers really hurt us. Obviously, defense was playing strong in the beginning of the line of scrimmage. They had 206 yards. We had 32 yards rushing. Too much pressure on the quarterback. We did not play very well, and Auburn played their best game. Any questions?
If you have a question, can you please put it in the chat?
Hey, Ed, I know it's quick after this game, but just after, this game, how do you evaluate kind of your team where it's at right now and what things need to be done in the future?
Well, we got an open date. We're going to look at the things that we need to get fixed. Like we always do, we're going to work on getting fixed. We got to play with consistency. Obviously, we got to get better at a lot of things.
Ed Wilson, Alexander from The Advocate. There seems to be a pretty clear correlation between y'all being able to win football games when you run the football effectively and losing when y'all aren't able to do so. What's behind that? Why were y'all struggling to do that today?
Well, we couldn't. You asked me why we couldn't run the ball. Is that what you asked me? And we tried. We couldn't block those guys. And I saw other people block their fronts. I really was surprised that we couldn't block them. I thought we could run the football. I was worried about our pass protection a little bit. I thought we needed to chip a little more and give the left tackle a little bit more help. I knew they were good pass rushers, but I was really surprised that we couldn't run the football.
Hey, Ed Brooks again from The Advocate. With TJ Finley in this game, what did you see from him early? And, did you consider maybe Max earlier and or were you just kind of like letting him work through some of those things?
Well, he played so well last week. There was a couple of throws that could have went either way. The receiver should have caught it. One was behind. And then I know when they make a turnover, I'm not gonna pull them out right away. I mean, you can't keep on pulling quarterbacks in and out like that. So we had to give him enough time to see what he can do. And then when we finally made the decision to put Max in, we just thought that we had to go in a different direction.
Yeah, obviously, in much of the first half, the defense was actually getting some stops. It was a low-scoring game. I guess, what do you think kind of turned there? What changed?
Yeah, I thought we were playing with our cleats in the grass. Bull had a good plan. Our guys were tackling. We were keeping the ball in front of us. We were eliminating explosive plays. Now, we had a couple of busts on the speed sweep. But overall, I thought our tackling was pretty good in the first half.
Yeah, Ed, going back to the defense, this is like the third time this year it's given up 500 more yards. It seemed like the first drive of the second half kind of was a killer, along with a 99-yard touchdown. But the first drive seemed to really put y'all behind the 8 ball. You talk about that.
Yeah, we got to come out stronger. We got to come out stronger, and we got to play for 60 minutes. And we always talk about coming out strong in the second half, and we did. And we're going to look at the film. We got out physical up front. Tank basically a good player. We couldn't stop the quarterback. He made some big plays on us. And then we let the ball behind us in the fourth quarter. And those are things that we can't do in defense.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Hey, Coach, you mentioned Max, coming in there in the second half. I mean, just kind of how do you think he adjusted, to kind of being thrown out there? And just where do you see, I guess, kind of this battle kind of going over the next couple of weeks? Is there
we have to look at it. We have Myles our starting quarterback. That's clear. If TJ would have had an outstanding game and beat Auburn and stuff, then we'd have to discuss things. But Myles is definitely our starting quarterback. These guys are 2 young freshmen. They're going to be inconsistent because they're freshmen. But you know what? I can't expect them to perform well when we can't block. I mean, those defensive linemen were all over. These guys were running for their lives. You always got to start with protection. So I can't put it on young quarterbacks. We need to do a better job of protection.
Ed, you're always very generous about crediting your staff for doing this well or preparing the team well that way. But at this point, is it time to consider some, where your staff is defensively and maybe reassignments or jobs that they're doing, that sort of thing?
We evaluate every day. I'm always evaluating, but you got to go through a season and give everybody a chance and look at what we're doing. At the end of the season, we'll evaluate everything.
And Ed, after into this season, I mean, you've got tough games ahead. I mean, Do you feel like throughout the end of this second half that this game kind of started to get away from the team? And how do you keep things from unraveling? How do you have that conversation? Do you feel like the effort was there throughout the game?
Yeah. No, we got to look at the tape and see where we went wrong. We got to continue to fix the things we can. We got to be constructive. We got to be positive, and just identify what the problem is and come up with a solution. And we got to keep playing. There's a lot of young players out there. Eric Gilbert played well. There's some young guys that are learning how to play. This is a new team, but you got to learn. You come on the road at SEC, you better be ready to play. And it's my responsibility. Today we didn't start off fast, and Auburn was ready to play.
Coach, your defense might have played some of the best football it's played all year in the first quarter early on there. Then a pair of turnovers kind of, set Auburn up with a 14-0 lead. Did you get a sense that, maybe emotions might have been a bit deflated after, a pair of scores set up like that from the offense?
Sure. I mean, they're playing well, and all of a sudden we give up 2 touchdowns on offense, and that deflated those guys a little bit. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. We got to be mentally tough not to let that happen, but I do believe that happened today.
And Ed, back in that first and back in the first half, I mean, you guys went forward on 4th on your own 35, even after a timeout. What were you sensing at that game, and why you felt you needed to go there?
We didn't go for it. It's called polo. We didn't go for it. What we did, we drew them off sides.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a play. It was to draw them off sides. In fact, I thought it was a great call.
Thanks, Coach. I have a question for Liam. I just assumed Brooks has a question.
You're right. Hey, Liam, Brooks Scabina from The Advocate. Just, reflecting after this loss here, what did you see from the defense there, and how much were they getting pressure on you guys there? What was kind of what you saw from them?
I mean, yeah, we just never really got anything going really throughout the entire game. We weren't really able to establish the run game early. Turn the ball over, that was killer, fall behind, and then, it just seemed like when it rains, it pours, and in the second half, it really got out of hand really quick. So, we just didn't get anything going. We'll have to see the film and see what went wrong, but.
And in the minutes since, I mean, how has the locker room responded to this? I know it's a quick reflection on this, but where do you feel you all are going from here?
And we just got punched in the face. We got absolutely killed. So, but we have to respond. It's tough to say that now. It stings a lot right now. We just got embarrassed on a national stage, but we're gonna get back at it. Get on the film, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot to correct. And we got a bye week. We'll have to really take advantage of that time and see what we can do from there.
Liam, I mean, obviously this, like you said, when it rains, it pours, and it was a 0-0 game in the second quarter. I guess just walk me through, being on that field and what it's like as it starts to unravel. It starts to get out of hand?
It just happened quick. We had a couple of crucial turnovers that pretty much gave them 2 touchdowns, almost back to back. It's tough to overcome that, and then when we get the chance to score and move the ball, we have to do it. Our defense, they really had a good first half, and we have to take advantage of that, and put points on the board. But we weren't able to do that.
Hey, Liam, just what was the Auburn, front seven doing so well to kind of pretty much stop you guys in your tracks in that run game after such a, positive trend last week? It just seems like you guys, it kind of took a little bit of a step backwards today.
It definitely was a step backwards for us. They have played a good game. They're a good team. Definitely not happy with the showing. But I'll have to kind of get on film and see what was breaking down on play by play. So.
Liam, sort of a similar question to that. There seems to be a pretty clear correlation when y'all are running the football. You've been winning games, and when you've struggled to get that going, that's when y'all have lost. What do you attribute to that inconsistency throughout the season, game to game, not being able to establish the run?
It's tough to say, honestly. You know, it's I'll have to kind of see the film and see what went wrong. You know, they were a good defense. You know, they totally outplayed us. So.
Thank you, William. Okay, if you have a question for Jabril, if you could please put it in the chat.
Hey, Jabril, Brooks Cabina from The Advocate. Just in reflection of this game, what is the defense thinking right now after all of this? He's muted.
Okay. Yeah, defensive wise, we just have to keep making strides. We showed some promise early on in the game with getting stops, but we just have to continue to go forth with that throughout the whole entire game, all 4 quarters. We just can't have one quarter of just good defense. We just have to keep on striving throughout the whole game as a whole and just put it all together.
And I mean, obviously, you have a team with a lot of freshmen and sophomores. I mean, when a game gets out of hand like that, is it hard to keep that confidence throughout the whole defense?
Yeah, it can be, but at the end of the day, you have to just focus on doing what you can do best. Just trying to put good stuff on film, because regardless of the score, you're still playing to try to show everybody that you can compete at this level.
Jabril, thanks for talking with us. It's not fun to answer questions after a loss. We appreciate it. At one point in the game, I guess after the long touchdown pass, Gary Danielson said he couldn't tell if y'all were in man or zone, and it didn't look like y'all knew what you were in either. Is that a fair criticism? And if there is a problem knowing where to be at times, what do you attribute that to? Is it inexperience, or what do you think that could be?
That can just be a lack of miscommunication on the defensive end. But as a whole, our communication was there. We were just certain people had bad eyes and then just let the man go free. So at the end of the day, it was just miscommunication on our end.
Jabril, at the beginning of the game, to me it looked like y'all were playing some of the best football y'all played all season. With you only really gave up points when the offense turned over the ball there. Can you talk about what might have been the difference early on in the game and later on in the game?
Yeah, early on in the game, we just tried to stick to stopping the run. We knew that they were a heavy run team and trying to contain the QB run. But as the game continued to progress, we kind of just let go of what got us there at the beginning, and they started to run all over us and just do certain things that we just weren't ready for. So that was on the defensive part, us having our eyes in the bad positions.
And Jabril, it seems like, there are more personnel movements going on in the middle of the game, or, in the past week even. How do you guys approach that together when you're shuffling in with different guys coming in? I mean, what is the conversation there when you're seeing the faces change?
Yeah, it's just different personnel groups for different either they have 12 personnel or 11 personnel, depending on what we want to run. But throughout the week in practice, we work on that all the time. And just having that transition in game time is something that we just have to work better on.
Yeah, Jabril, you're a senior and you're kind of a leader of this defense. I mean, just kind of what can you tell your guys after a game like this where it's just, kind of so up and down as far as just the effort and, communication and things of that nature? I mean, just what do you think you have to do to get this corrected?
Yeah, always after a loss like this, it hurts. But you can't dwell on this. We know who we have in 2 weeks. That's something that we have to prepare and get our mind right. And we just have to put this in the past and just let this sit in and just know that the feeling that we have for this game, don't let it carry on into the next 2 weeks.
Hey, Jabril, obviously, Micah started for Damone today. I guess, how do you think Micah stepped up in that role, and how do you think Damone handled it?
Oh, Micah did a tremendous job. Him and Damone, they were going back and forth in substitution, but Micah, he played a great game, and he showed that everybody that he's the Micah Baskerville that everybody thought he could be.
Just tell him thanks. We got to go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.